You know, you can't leave them outside.
Gotcha.
Alright, we're back here on the front room here. To the left side, we got the paneling off. I got a couple holes drilled in the center of the studs. This is pretty bad, and you know, I think Shannon has. She said she's brought this to Randy's attention, not this extent, but she had told him. She had told him that there was mold in the house. So anyway, so we got her all we're out here, and I think this is probably the last piece we're gonna do. Every piece I take off, it's pretty rough looking, and I really don't want to stir up a whole lot of mold spores in here. I would like to further investigate more areas of the house to check for mold, but it's getting late. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get some rest. But this is the reason why we've been bringing it to you guys' attention that we need to start getting stuff done here because it's starting to fall apart. I had no idea this water. This water leak here is probably, I'm guessing it's from the amount and extents that it has traveled throughout the house from the roof. This has been leaking for years. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to guess, but I guarantee it's at least 5, 6 years. So, I'm definitely gonna have to do something about this. It's pretty rough. My eyes are actually itching and kind of got a burning sensation on them from just stirring up what I have stirred up. The mold is also on this interior wall off the kitchen here. When you walk through, it's on the back side, in which the chimney is on that too. Approximately, somewhere up in here on the ceiling, there's a round hole in the chimney. I'm not sure what the condition of the patch is that seals that in. Once again, there's I told you earlier that there's water marks coming down the back side of these cupboards in the laundry room. I'd really like to pull some tongue and groove, maybe 1 or 2 boards off here, and then inspect that and see how bad it is behind there also. And then on our cupboards down there, Shannon had cleaned those up. Unfortunately, we didn't get any video footage of that, but we do have photos of that. Another concern of mine would be the ventilation system. If there's mold spores here, they're in the whole house. It doesn't take much all it has to do is find a moisture site. Another thing I noticed here, just quick, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I'm sure it's probably not you guys that did it, probably the previous owners. I'll just back up a little bit here. On this last piece of paneling I pulled off, there's actually used to be a ductwork right here, a vent for heat, where somebody installed this for the central air system or whatever. Anyway, if you run up this wall by this hole here, and I'll just take a quick peek in here to show you that, there is. Oh, that's so hard. I see right angle. Everything I hit with the flashlight, it looks bright and white. Anyway, that's stucco right there sticking out has mold on it, and this part going up the wall with the light here goes straight up here, and right above here is our bedroom. There's actually a ductwork vent going into we call it the nursery off our bedroom on one side, and then it's like a double vent. It splits right there. However, whoever installed that vent, they didn't put no sheet metal in the wall. There's no actual heat duct run. They just used in between the 2x4s to run it. So if there is any mold spores in that wall, which there is, when the furnace is fired up for the first time this winter, it's gonna basically blow all them spores right out the vent. Another concern too is any dust particles that have built up any amount in the ductwork will obviously absorb moisture, and if any mold spores contact that moisture with that dust or lint in the ductwork, it'll also start creating black mold inside the ductwork, and that's bad news, because once that gets fired up, you're basically filling your house with black mold particles. Maybe not black mold. There's tons of different species of black mold. Most of them are pretty toxic. There is, like I said, there's the purple mold on that piece of block, and there's some tan brown stuff in there. We got green, and but there's quite a bit of black, which is the worst. So I mean, you can even see. Look at this water stain. I mean, that takes a lot to go through plaster, 3 layers of wallpaper and stuff too. So this is a matter, you know, I've seen worse cases where I was actually on a job in Rice Lake, and the whole basement was solid mold. I'm talking everything was black and it was all fluffy. So I mean, it's not obviously to that extent, but being on the interior wall, you can wash this, you can sheetrock over it. The first time that anything gets moist on the outside, that mold will crawl right through the sheetrock, any seam. You'll have the same problem. You'll have to gut it all back out and redo it again. So what really needs to be done is all the plaster, the lath, wallpaper, paneling, it all has to come off. Everything has to come off. It has to be bagged up in black bags, because this is I'm not kidding when I say this. You can do a little research yourself, but it is biohazard product. So that, I mean, this is, I'm not trying to get technical on here or whatever, but OSHA requires you to bag up any mold remediation material in black contractor bags, so it's sealed tight. That's the only way that the dump will take it also. So anyway, I'm going to shut her down here, and I'll get this video up to you so you can watch it in the morning. Hopefully I didn't traumatize you too much here. Tomorrow, when I get some time later on, I'll poke around in some other areas of the house that aren't in the main living quarters. This is a huge problem for us, because this is obviously a main room that we walk through on a daily basis to go to the bathroom, kitchen. We had mold in the bottom cupboards, and you know, the kitchen's supposed to be the cleanest place that you have in the whole house. So if it's this bad in the front room on a main area and in the kitchen, you know, it might not be to that severity upstairs, but we haven't made it up there yet. So I believe above this laundry room, I don't think there's any rooms up here. Gosh, I really can't remember. Give me a second, I'll go outside and see where the roof line ends here. Excuse me. Alright, so as you can see, right here's the edge of the bedroom. This is the top of the laundry room here. Here's our chimney. Well, if you come across, see a little corner right there, it runs right on the edge of the chimney. And I got a sneaky suspicion that if I go upstairs in the nursery and pull that wall off, there's probably mold in that wall. Possibly maybe some soft spots in the floor on the edge of the wall right there also. Tomorrow I'll crawl up in the attic, and I'll see if I can see any water damage from that side. I'm not sure if I can get over there in the attic, being that it's right on the edge part, but I will try my best. is people don't ever go to this extent to find it, and they start getting sick. They don't know what's wrong. They've been breathing in black mold particles or mold particles. They might have allergies or whatever, and people that have allergies, it's much worse. So this is a pretty serious matter, and I love having you guys as landlords. It's been awesome. We got to figure something else, or figure something out to either resolve this problem or, I guess we'll talk about that more in detail later on. But, so I'm going to go ahead and put this cement piece back in here very carefully. I really don't want to try to disturb it too much. It looks like they kind of use a little bit of everything to patch the hole shut, so I want to be careful not to disturb too much crap here. Go up here and gently put this back in, and see if I can just ease it in so I don't stir anything up too much. This notch in here, like a puzzle, putting it back together. It's gotta be. There we go. So, alright, as you can see, when I did take the paneling off, this is that inch or so on the top of their patch that they had. This was exposed when I pulled the paneling off. And if you look up in here, this wood here is rotted, and it's got quite a bit of black mold on it. I'm guessing those few pieces of lath that were in here with the plaster had rotted away too. So, when you get a downdraft or anything, it's going to come right through there. So we'll talk to you tomorrow, and hopefully this gives you a good insight of at least this interior wall. Like I said, there's a couple more walls that I can see from this side, on the opposite side, that have mold in them. We're talking about a pretty big project here. Mold remediation is a very what do you want to call it? You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. You can't leave anything unclean. You gotta scrub everything down with germicidal bleach. You can use a fungicide to kill it. Anything that's dry rotted or squishy wood, moist wood, has to be totally remediated. It has to come out of there and be replaced with dry new stuff. And I guess what I would recommend is, after it's all gutted, I would take maybe a weed sprayer and fill it with germicidal bleach and maybe a fungicide, and or not mix them together. And once everything's gutted off, spray all the studs and stuff, the wall joists, and anything that can be scrubbed down and saved, and then let it sit for 2-3 days, because obviously there is still moisture up there. Tomorrow I will get up on the roof and I'll tarp the chimney so that no more moisture can come in through there, and we'll at least stop the water source. So I guess that's kind of my plan of attack right now, and I guess I'll know more when I talk to you tomorrow. I'm sorry about all this damage that you guys didn't know about, and this explains the floor here. Is I really didn't understand it, but now I'm putting the pieces together. It's kind of like a little investigation. You gotta find the evidence. This dark spot on the floor that comes right off the wall, I haven't really told you about this. Randy did see the buckled floor when he was here last time. I showed it to him. It was pretty bad, and my kids were tripping on it and stuff. So, and it felt kind of moist, but not soaking wet. So what I did to temporarily fix the problem, which it's not fixed, it's just a kind of a patch to make sure nobody gets hurt. And I tried to maybe help the floor dry out a little bit. I didn't really talk to you guys about this because it was an ongoing problem, and I had to get it taken care of before somebody got hurt. So what I did here is I took 4-inch or 3-inch sheetrock screws, and I believe they're like 1 inch or inch and a half washers, and put the sheetrock screw through it, put it on the seam of the buckled board, and I drew it down flush to the floor. Whether it'll stay there when I take the screws out or not, I'm not sure. I haven't attempted that yet. I have drilled some really small holes in the wood. It's really hard to see, but here's one there. It looks like a little nail hole, basically, that can be filled in with wood putty if need be. Best way to do that is just take an old board like this that might be on the edge or something like that, and just make little cuts in it to get sawdust off of it. You mix it with wood glue, and you just put it right in the hole, and it'll match the wood color and stuff. So anyway, this part of the moisture problem, I believe, is definitely a good sign that came from our leak here on the wall. I'm not sure what the basement looks like. I haven't been down there yet. I'll make sure you guys get footage of that too. But anyway, I think what happened is the moisture came underneath the floor. They have like a tar paper underlayment. It's similar to tar paper. It's more like paperish. It does absorb water, so it's not exactly tar paper. But I think what happened is it went in between the boards, and it worked its way across here. And when we first moved in, it's hard to see. I got quite a mess here. This board right here was so buckled up that I had to remove it. If I would have thought of the idea with the screws and the washers, I would have tried pulling it back down. I do still have the same pieces, so I can put them back in if need be. But I have a good feeling that, this isn't from us. We don't spray water around our house and stuff, and we try to mop, every couple of days or whatever. We try to keep the dust level down. We normally use Murphy's oil on the floor. Maybe once a week we'll take germicidal bleach and mop the floor with it, and then Murphy's oil over the top of it. So germicidal bleach will kill any kind of hazardous germs that might be hazardous to humans. Anyway, so being that this much damage has worked its way almost to the basement door, I got a good feeling that this has definitely been leaking for at least a good 5 or 6 years. So once again, we really like to stay and try to solve this problem, but we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do. We'll have to find a plan of attack on this and see what route you guys want to go. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll have more footage for you